Oh, finally. My epic and awesome house is completed. Now I can sit back, relax, and... What is that? Oppenheimer! No! Please! Don't do it!
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
What's more fun than having an infinite world where you can create anything you want? Blowing it up, of course. I feel like ever since Herobrine's brother added TNT to Minecraft, people have been obsessed with creating bigger and better explosion mods. And of course, there's no bigger explosion one can think of than a nuke. There's been so many attempts at adding nuke and nuke-adjacent explosions to Minecraft that it's made me want to look through the best ones I can find and then rank them. I'm going to be ranking the nukes on two different metrics: how cool the explosion looks and how devastating the explosion is. And at the end of the video, the mod that wins will receive my iconic Best Nuke Mod in Daiazal's Nuke Mod video trophy. So, let's get into it. So, if you remember much from this mod, then you might be as surprised as I was to find out that this mod is actually a PvP specific mod. I don't know, back in the day, it was just kind of always shown off as like a funny gun mod where you just muck around with all the cool weapons it adds. And you know, you can do that. You can pull out this cool plasma cannon thing and shoot big huge plasma balls, and that's cool, you can do that, but it actually has a PvP element, which is how you're meant to properly interact with it. So to do that, what we need is the game starter and the pliers. So if we put the game starter down and then we right click it with our pliers, it'll kill us so we can respawn, and now we get to actually play the game mode of this mod. It adds, you know, different classes that you pick. We've got the Rebel, the Nuker, the Intel, and the freaking sweet awesome hacker. Check out this bloke, he looks mad. And you can see all the different, you know, items that you get for whatever class you want to play. Now, because we're specifically looking at the nukes, that's why we're here. We're here for the nukes. We're going to play the nuker, so we ready up. And then, you know, we get to pick our team. And the team we want is the Sigma, obviously, because, you know, I'm a freaking awesome Sigma. And now it'll spawn us in. It gives us all our items and this freaking awesome, sweet nuker armor. The whole point, the whole idea of the game mode is you get this base and you can deck it out with the towers and stuff, or these bunkers. If we do this, there you go, we got a cool bunker now. And the whole idea is you're just meant to try and defend your base and destroy the enemy's base. That's what you're meant to do. Now, before we get to the actual nukes itself, there's one thing I want to show you that this mod adds, which is actually really cool and that I've never seen anyone show off. If we go to here and we grab this block right here, if we right click this, it'll spawn this giant frame, right? This big, huge frame. And then what we do is we get the supplies, put two of these on top of each other, and then we construct this the tokamak, right? Now we get a hydrogen rod, and we get one of these core things. We put the hydrogen in here, the core in here, and we turn it on, and it makes this whole freaking it makes a whole giant mech. It makes this giant ass mech and I've never seen anyone talk about it. And we can call the roads, and we can actually get inside it. It's kind of hard for me to show this off, but like we are now piloting a giant mech suit. So yeah, now we're just walking around in this huge ass mech. Like, this is crazy. I can't believe I've, like, never seen, like, anything on this before. I don't know why it's flashing so much, but there's more, okay? There's more. What we do is, if we make a couple of these, we'll put that one there, one over here, and we make another one of these. All right, so we've got two mechs. And now I can have these... Sorry, this is so loud. I can have these giant ass mech battles going on. Well, like, what is look at this. What is going on? Like, they are fucking it up right now. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Yeah, there you go. Now they've blown up, and it's just this guy now. Oh, there he goes. All right, anyway, what was I doing? I'm gonna let that guy just roam and destroy things. All right, so anyway, the nukes. Let's get to what we're actually here for. Luckily, I've just found this completely abandoned village. Pretty crazy. I didn't even know these could spawn in, and just so weird, no one's here. To make the nuke, we need this right here, the nuke bottom and the nuke top. And there's a few different types of nukes we can make. So we'll start off with the basic, you know, the basic standard nuke. So we put the nuke bottom down, the nuke top down, and then if we use pliers on them, there we go. We get our warhead, huh? There it is. What does that say? Whack nuke. We get the whack nuke. So what we need to prime this nuke, we need a bunch of these, and one of these. So we got to put in the fuse. We got to put in the chip. And then these nuclear rods increase the megatons. So that's how big our explosion is going to be. So you can see each one adds 2.5. So we'll just keep adding these. There we go. And now all we need to activate it is the timer bomb. And as soon as I put this in, this timer is going to start going down. So we'll chuck her in and we'll back away. And as you can see, that's a pretty, that's a pretty devastating explosion, not gonna lie. And if we actually come down, we can see that the dirt here, this is now radioactive. This is, see, radioactive dirt. So if I were to go into survival and walk around here, you see I'm taking damage from the radiation. Now that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool, but that's the smallest nuke that this mod adds. It's actually got quite a few more. So we'll head over here to a new splotch of land and we'll test out a different nuke. What is he doing? This guy is still just blowing stuff up. He's just... Stop, man. You can stop. If we place 2 nuke bottoms like this and 2 nuke tops like this, and then we do the top left block, we get the antimatter nuke. Okay, so I was a little confused with this one because I just tried to use it and it didn't work properly. Oh. Then I realized you have to enchant the rods here in order for it to activate. So we've got 2 antenna, we've got our fuse, we've got our chip, and we've got all our enchanted rods. And now we'll put in our timer and we'll get to test out the antimatter nuke. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, this is huge. Good lord. Jesus. Oh my god, my game is broken. Jesus Christ, the game can't even keep up with what's been destroyed here. I'm like loading in the destruction. Good lord. That's really cool. My computer is not even loading this hole for some reason. The way it blew up is like broken the way the chunks are loading. And you know what's crazy is that there's an even more powerful version of that bomb. If we do the same thing, so we do 2 nuke tops, 2 nuke bottoms, 2 nuke tops. Instead of doing the top left, if we do the bottom left, we get the tachyon. This time we've got hydrogen and nuclear rods. All right, and we'll put in the timer, and then we'll see what we end up with this one. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's crazy. That is like hundreds of blocks out. It has enveloped the world in this like explosion cloud. Oh no way. Oh, my computer is struggling. And look at how crazy of a hole this has left. This has just become filled with obsidian, this interior hole here. This is a huge amount of destruction. Oh my god. There is still 2 more nukes that this mod adds. However, they are both the same thing. One is just a more powerful version of the other one. And it's not like that where it's like a distinctly different type of explosion. They're the same type of explosion. One is just much more amplified. So we're going to do the final huge big gigabomb. So we'll go over here. If we do 4, and then if we click in the top left, we get this one. We get the Tsar Bomber. But this isn't what we want. Is if we do it in the bottom left, we get this version of the bomber. This super gnarly black and green one. Doesn't actually require as much setup as the other one. We just need a bunch of nuclear rods. Just like a huge amount of nuclear rods. This in here. So now we have a 100 megaton nuke here. So as soon as we chuck this timer in, we got to back up. Oh my god! Holy moly. That went on for so long, and look at the size of this crater. Jesus Christ. You can see this is petrified wood. It's burnt all the trees that were around here into a crisp, and it's just, that's huge. That cloud, that was ginormous, and you can see it's created these like waves of like land as from I guess the force of the explosion. That was absolutely crazy. Rival Rebels might be the first big mod that had a proper nuclear explosion in it, and I have fond memories of mucking around with this back in the day. It was everywhere too. You couldn't find a single Minecraft YouTuber not mention it. I feel like there's enough content in Rival Rebels for a whole video. I'm actually a bit shocked at the depth it has. Based on my memory, I always thought it was just a gun mod. I mean, that's how most people used it. Just shooting things in creative mode, which is still fun, don't get me wrong. But the whole giant battle mech is awesome. I'm surprised more people haven't shown it off. Now, on to the actual nukes. We'll cover the aesthetics first because they're definitely a highlight here. Each nuke's mushroom cloud looks extremely cool. Now yeah, they definitely don't fit into Minecraft's aesthetic, but you gotta remember that this is an older mod that started way back in 2012, where creators weren't really focused on making content that looked like it belonged in Minecraft like they do now. It does help that the explosions end up looking so unique and imposing. I'm actually surprised at how huge they get. Don't get me wrong, I understand that I'm meant to be looking at a nuke, but from my memory, I only was familiar with the Whack Nuke's explosion. So to see how huge the Tachyon explosion ended up being, or how tall the Tsar bomber was, honestly blew me away. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10 on cool factor. It only loses some points just because they're so big that you can't actually see them fully, as they disappear due to how the explosions work. If I was able to completely see them from a long distance away, I could see these getting a 10. Sadly, no matter how much I enjoy the aesthetic of the explosions, the actual damage done is a little underwhelming. For how large the clouds end up being, you'd think that the size of the explosion would annihilate a city's worth of land, especially the Tachyon nuke that's spread out so far. And while they do a lot of damage, and are very deep, they just don't spread out as far as I'd expect. When I think nuke, I'm imagining an incomprehensibly devastating explosion, and Rival Rebels just doesn't meet those expectations. So, for explosion devastation, I'm going to be giving this mod a 4 out of 10. Honestly, the coolness of the mushroom clouds makes me even more disappointed by the damage they cause and brings the score down. You can't have such an awesome explosion end up with a crater that doesn't match. All in all, I do enjoy this mod, and I think it's one of the most iconic weapon mods Minecraft has seen, but it isn't my favorite. While it has some cool explosions, I want to make them myself with my own sweat and blood. I feel like the process of gathering the resources required to craft a nuke add to the experience, and is what I want from a nuke mod. That's not to say this mod is bad because of how it works. After all, it does market itself as a PvP experience and not something for survival Minecraft. It just means it doesn't quite fit my arbitrary criteria. So in total, Rival Rebels gets 12 points, which for now sits it at the top of my leaderboard. Alrighty, so this one is different to the other one we just looked at because you actually can craft every single piece of explosive that is in this mod. So as you can see, I've got this house here that I definitely just spent a bunch of time, setting up and everything all legitimately. And in here, we've got a bunch of TNT, which we'll need. But for our first nuke, we need something more than just TNT. We have to get our hands on some uranium. So uranium ore is just found in mines just like any other ore. So we're going to go mining and we're going to see if we can find ourselves some good old yummy uranium. Alrighty, so after a long and definitely legitimate mining session, we have found some uranium and we need 4 to be exact here. So hopefully we got 1 there. We've got to find another 3 more. Alrighty. 4 uranium. We've got our 4 uranium, and now we just got to go and smelt this to get an ingot. We just cook this uranium ore just like any other ore, and we'll get some uranium ingots. Now that we've got our uranium, we have to make a special block of TNT. We can't just use a regular block of TNT. We have to make a times 100 TNT block. How to do it is you just got to make a block of 4 TNT that gives you times 5. This will give you times 20. This will give you a times 100. So we put that in the middle. We surround this with uranium, and then we get the nuclear TNT. Before I use this, I want to make our other explosives because there's 2 more tiers of nuclear explosions we can make. And for our next one, we'll need 4 of these. So let me just get 4 of these real quick. All we have to do is we surround it just like this, and then we put a uranium in the middle, and then we get it, the Tsar bomber. All right, and now there's 1 more tier of nuke above the bomber. For that one, we need 4 SAR bombers. And then what we need is we need some nuclear waste. And for nuclear waste, you just got to put uranium ingots into your crafting table. You get some of these. And then we have to create a nuclear waste TNT, and we'll combine them. And now we have our nuclear waste TNT. So there's one more thing that we need, and that is a antimatter ingot. For an antimatter ingot, we have to make a really weird item. All you have to do to make this is make a square of one of each TNT, and that'll give you the death ray ray. And what we have to do is we have to use this on a piece of uranium. So we put the antimatter in the middle, we put 4 nuclear waste in the corners, and then the bombers in the remaining spots, and then we get it, the hydrogen bomb. So the first one, the nuclear TNT, we're going to use it on our beautiful house that has served us so well that I definitely spent a lot of time crafting. And we're going to see what sort of destruction the base nuke is going to cause. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. It stripped all the trees. Oh my god. And as you can see, I'm filled with radiation now. I've got this green haze just sort of permanently over for 2 minutes while I'm in here. And yeah, this is, I mean, the explosion itself, you know, wasn't that big, but the devastation it's caused is pretty gnarly. This is spread out decently far. Alrighty, I've flown a bit away. We're going to detonate our SAR bomber over here, and we'll see how it compares. Oh, what? Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no way. Oh man. And I am crazy irradiated. This is coated the entire ground in nuclear waste, like everywhere, and it's just a huge amount of damage. And you can see, look how far the trees have been stripped. That's crazy. That's actually wild. This is, man. Okay, I've turned my render distance all the way up, just so you can see how far out just the explosion alone spreads, let alone the damage to the surrounding environment. It has decimated. It has killed these trees. Alrighty, I found a new area. There's a couple villages nearby as well, as you can see. So I'm really interested to see just how much they get destroyed by the final one. Put down the hydrogen bomb and we'll detonate it. Oh, oh, oh my god. Oh, look, the village survived. Oh no, it's coated in radiation. Oh man. Oh, dude, this whole village has been irradiated completely. Oh, they're gonna be screwed over for generations. Look at him. He's radioactive as hell. Look at the devastation. That's crazy. That's wild. Such a huge pit. And again, just filled to the brim with nuclear waste that's now made this entire splotch of land just completely uninhabitable. And as you can see, it's just blown all the way out. What a huge... That other village is completely gone. They didn't even get a chance to live through that. Even though this mod isn't meant to be taken very seriously, I still really enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm barely scratching the surface on the amount of explosions this mod adds. There is an absurd amount of different types of TNT that are all unique and original. I didn't show them off, but there are multiple end of the world type explosions that you can set off that completely detonate an entire save file. I do also really enjoy that you can at least craft all of these in survival. Sure, they aren't really reasonable crafting recipes. The 100x TNT requires a whole stack of TNT on its own, and for our purposes, we used multiple 100x TNTs, so you can imagine it can get pretty crazy. But the fact that you can realistically create everything it offers in pure survival is something I appreciate. But enough rambling, we're here to rank these nuclear explosions, so let's get to it. We'll start off with what I like about these explosions, and that's how it handles the nuclear devastation. I like how even the smallest nuke not only creates a crater, but also blows all the leaves off the surrounding trees and coats the area in radiation. That's exactly the type of rampage I want to see from a nuke. Now, in saying that, they aren't as big as the ones created by rival rebels. However, in my opinion, they handle the nuke aspects better. The permanent mark left on the landscape is what I want to see. I also really enjoy the mixture of nuclear waste along with radiation to ensure that a player isn't going to be heading back to the detonation zone anytime soon. So, for devastation, I'm giving this mod a 7 out of 10. The explosions aren't the largest, but they're very nuke-like, which is what I'm after. Now, the aesthetic of the actual explosion is where this one falls a bit short. Keep in mind, this mod is meant to be a TNT mod more than a nuke mod, so it makes sense that the actual explosions aren't the focus, more the aftermath, but I still won't lie and say that I'm a little disappointed by how they end up looking. I do enjoy that the mod drops a little nuke before the actual explosion. I was a bit disappointed that there wasn't a proper warhead like Rival Rebels, so to see that happen did make the experience a bit more enjoyable. Because this mod's focus is a bunch of different types of explosions and the nukes are a small part of that, I understand why they made the mushroom clouds how they did, but I can only be so lenient with my super serious rankings. It was a bit of a shame that I couldn't really see them properly due to lag. That's not on the mod, mind you, that's just my computer not allocating enough RAM to Minecraft and Minecraft itself struggling a bit with large explosions. From what I could make out, even though it's all made of particles, it does still look cool enough, and even though the clouds were kinda small, I do at least appreciate that the size of the mushroom matches the hole created. So for explosion coolness, I'll give this mod a 3 out of 10, giving Lucky TNT a total score of 10, keeping Rival Rebels in the lead. Again, this mod is still great, and I recommend checking it out if you like mucking around with explosions. Tech mod alert, where all my tech heads at? So, as you can see, I've got this platform that I made completely legitimately all in survival just to showcase off this mod. Now, this one is actually specifically a nuclear mod, but it does require a bit of setup. We got one of these mods now. We can't just chuck some blocks together and get our nuke. No, we got to work for it. So, first and foremost, what we're going to need to get started is a machine template folder. Actually, first and foremost, if you decide to use this mod, you're going to need quite a bit of material. Yeah, okay, so originally I was explaining how to do all the things you need to be able to make the nukes, but it ended up being like 20 minutes of me just crafting machines, which is boring, so I'm going to summarize. After you make your burner press and anvil, you use them to create a blast furnace, which you can then use to make some special ingots like steel and Minecraft grade copper, which you can then use to eventually create a generator and the frickin' sweet assembly machine, which is the main machine for creating pretty much everything else in the mod. With this, you can make our nukes along with whatever little bits and bobs the nuke will need to become active. Alright, now we can get to the good bits. And there we go, bam! Our first nuclear warhead, the gadget. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find a spot to detonate this bad boy, and we can finally start looking at the mods. I reckon this is a pretty decent place, so we're going to put down our gadget, and I've got all the materials I need to activate it. So if we right click, we put in this high explosive lenses, one in each corner, we put wiring in the middle, and then we put our large plutonium core in the center here. And now this is ready to go. Now you can create a detonator, but it also says you can just activate it with a piece of redstone. So, you know, that's just what I'm gonna do. Oh no, no, my items. Oh god. Oh shit. Oh god. Okay, so I might have vastly underestimated how much of an impact this nuke would have. Oh no, my entire platform is gone. Oh my god, it destroyed everything. So, I'll be honest, I did already test this one out just before to make sure I was doing things correctly. I didn't think it would detonate immediately like it does, but just look at how this is like, look at what's happened here, and you can see there's diamonds everywhere. That's because this all was coal that is now, since because of the explosion, become diamonds, because the coal was, you know, the heat or what have you has turned all the coal in the area into diamonds. And you can see like the size of the damage is huge. All the trees have been stripped of their leaves and all the logs have been charred. And as we go further out, you can see the fallout gets less and less worse. The trees that weren't charred have all their leaves are dead. The water is all dark and sickly. And this whole area is radioactive. If you stay in here long enough, you'll start getting radiation poisoning. Like, and not just like you'll start taking poison damage. I think if we watch one of these sheeps, you can see he's all nauseous and stuff, and he should start throwing up. Oh, yep. Oh my god, it threw up blood. So yeah, he's gonna die. Alrighty, so we've got the little boy here. Hello there. And we just gotta put these components in here. And the igniter. And I'm pretty sure there is a detonator I can get. Alright, I got this laser detonator, which I'm pretty sure will allow me to detonate this from a ways away. So we're gonna do that to get a proper look at this explosion here. Oh. 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 My god, that was instant. Oh my god. Now I don't actually know if this one is as, I think this one might actually be a bit smaller of an explosion. Still though, that's crazy. I didn't even see the shockwave the first time around that gets shot out. That's crazy. Alrighty, so we got the fat man here. I've put it in like this sort of mountainy area because I want to see how far up the explosion goes. So we're just gonna fill this in. We're just gonna back up and we're gonna use our laser detonator on this one. Oh no. What have I done? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, it's all gone. Oh no, it's all gone. Oh, this poor village is done for. Oh, it's all, oh no, it's over. Oh no, it's so over. Oh no. Oh, this poor village is completely radioactive. I'm sorry, bros. Are they gonna start throwing up from the radiation? Oh my god, and the cloud is still there. Crazy. You can see he's like, this guy's freaking out. I'm sorry, bro. We're now going into the big leagues, all right? We're looking here at the ivory mic. Now, I have no idea what to expect with this one, but I feel like we're not ready for what's about to happen. I can't detonate this. Oh! Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Oh, this one is huge. Oh my god, this one is huge. Oh god. Oh, what is happening? Oh, no way. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's crazy. Oh, the wasteland it's created. Holy moly. Oh, my computer is not enjoying this at all. This is the Tsar Bomber, the consistent bomb that's been in all of these mods so far. We'll see how much this one bricks my PC. Oh. 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 Look at how huge this mushroom cloud is. Oh my god. Oh my god, this cloud just keeps going on for forever. Sad news. I just detonated another one of those bombs. Oh, what the fuck? Alright, so real quick, at this point I wasn't sure if this mod was broken or if it was just my PC being weird because there was no crater showing up for some reason. So I decided to create a new world, detonate the nuke, then walk away and have a shower to see if the explosion loaded up by the time I got back. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. This is endless. Look at how, this just keeps going. Oh, no way. I haven't even gotten to like where it starts to burn. This is just the base explosion. The other ones we started seeing the burning trees, but still the grass. This has been completely this is all fallout still. When do we start to see the remnants of trees, I wonder? Are all these guys, even this village out here, are they all going to be affected by radiation? I think they're, yeah, he's freaking out. Yup. He's got radiation poisoning. It's still going. This is hundreds of blocks away from where the explosion happened. Hold on, let me just, I want to show you, we're only just hitting the end of the devastation here. Let me show you just how far away this has affected. Just how much of an area of effect this has had. You see how far out I was? And that goes in every single direction. I can't even grasp how big of an explosion this is. And that's still not even the biggest nuke in this mod. Alrighty, so we've got one more nuke explosion to look at with this mod. And I found the perfect little village to test it out on. This is the prototype. And we'll get our detonator and we'll see how this one looks. Oh. Alright, I'll be honest, that wasn't actually quite as devastating as I thought it was going to be. For some reason, I assumed it would be of similar variety as the other nukes, but I guess this one's a little bit different. But still, this is quite a crazy explosion. That poor village I'd put it in is gone for good, forever. So I said that was the last explosion we're going to look at, but there's actually one more. Now, this one technically doesn't classify as a nuclear explosion like the other ones, but it's so cool, I just have to show it off. And that's done with our pal here, Gerald, the construction android. So Gerald's a little bit different. What we need for him is we need to put down one of these. Oh. Ah, okay, there we go. Okay, we had to put down this, our launch pad here, and then we got to put our rockets in the launch pad. How does this work? Okay, it took me a second to get this set up, but essentially what I had to do was I had to give it a bunch of fuel, a bunch of kerosene and liquid oxygen. I had to link Gerald to this little designator here. I had to link their satellite frequencies and I had to put this thing in here. Essentially, now what we can do is we can send Gerald up into space. So if I press this big red button, there he goes, off into space. And now I can use the satellite designator to essentially pick a location of where I want that rocket to land and explode. It's called Tom, I'm pretty sure. 680 and 419. And we press this button, he should fall down from the sky. Oh. Oh no! Oh no! Oh god, I'm so sorry. What have I done? What have I done? It's so over. It's never been more over. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh, everything is lava and I'm perpetually on fire. Oh my god, how far out does this go? I thought that's where it stopped, but that's just a remnant tree that somehow survived. Oh my god. Alright, so I've had a bit of a look at the wiki, and what this explosion has done is, one, it's created a crater over 1,200 blocks wide, which we can see here. Also, for the next 600 days, the sky is going to look like this. It's going to have this haze over it, and there's nothing I can do. Apparently, every single mob that's exposed to the outside will be on fire for a whole day. So that's why I'm perpetually on fire here. If I wasn't in creative mode, I would be dead, and it's going to stay like that for the next day. Oh my god, I just realized that all the grass, this grass here, just sort of lucked out due to how the explosion happened and didn't get burnt away. But I thought that was the end of the explosion, but all the grass, all the trees have all been completely burnt to a crisp. How far out did it burn? Everything is gone. How far out does it reach? at some point before here and like not too far back, here we go. At some point between here and here, the explosion stops. That was a journey away. That radius is ginormous. If I wasn't flying over water, you would have just seen constant never-ending piles of dirt where all the vegetation was wiped out. Wow, I can't believe that. A little bit of a spoiler, but I think this one's gonna win. But before I actually talk about the nukes we looked at specifically, I want to talk a bit about what this mod adds in general, because there's so much content around nukes and nuclear power, I'd be doing it a disservice if I didn't try and cover some of it. Now, obviously, there is a heavy tech mod focus with this. You can make all sorts of machines, generators, whatever, that are all centered around working towards nuclear power. But there is also a surprising amount of content you can find and engage with just through exploration. This mod is heavily inspired by Fallout, and due to that, you can find all sorts of abandoned buildings throughout your world that are not only filled with unique items to help you progress through the different stages of technology, but interesting lore snippets that give insight into the potential nuclear devastation that has occurred in the world you've spawned into. You'll find a lot of computers and notebooks in the buildings that give clues on what has happened, and these can be used to further your own advancement, which I think is a really cool way to introduce the player to more elements of your mod without reliance on wikis or tutorials. I'm not the biggest fan of tech mods myself, and one of the biggest hurdles around them is getting used to the large abundance of buildings and items they add. Because there's so much you can do with these mods, they normally feel very overwhelming, especially because most of them don't give much instruction on how to utilize everything they add. So this mod using its structures to help instruct the player is a really great way of working around that, and also means that even if you aren't the type of person to want to engage with the tech side of things this mod adds, there's still an abundance of other content you can find and engage with. You really could completely ignore learning how to create any of the machines in this mod and rely solely on the buildings you find around the world and still have a great time. And this mod being inspired by Fallout means there's a bunch of different guns you can find and make, which is just another element that adds to the overall enjoyment. After all, even though the nuclear weapons are really cool, they do take quite a bit of setup and time to get. So having cool guns you can find and play with means that there's still a destructive fun element you can engage with easily. Alright, enough rambling, let's talk about the nukes. Firstly, I enjoy how involved the process is to create them. It makes sense that such weapons of mass destruction require a lot of steps to be created. Of course, it would take a long while in vanilla to even get the smallest nuke, but just based on the potential devastation, you can probably see why I'm okay with that. I'm a big fan of how much thought has been put into everything as well. To even handle the radioactive material, you need special equipment, otherwise you'll get hit with radiation poisoning that will kill you instantly. Well, not before you vomit up your insides first. And the fallout left behind by the explosion is exactly what I'd imagine a nuclear explosion's impact would be on the surrounding environment. Not only do we get a huge crater, we also get a layer of ash coating everything and heavy radiation in the immediate vicinity of the explosion. I also love that the ores in the blast zone have been changed due to being in range of the explosion. The coal turning into diamonds due to the pressure is such a nice, appreciated touch. And you might think that it's a little unbalanced to get easy access to that many diamonds. However, the radiation of the area makes it extremely hard to navigate. So getting your hands on the newly generated ores is no easy feat. Probably my favorite part is how the effects of the explosion dwindle the further out you go, from ashen black stone to stripped trees and tainted dirt ending in dead foliage. The way the landscape is destroyed in stages adds to the realism of the explosion and makes it feel more impactful. So, for explosion devastation, this mod is of course getting a 10, how could it not? It's literally everything I could want from a nuclear explosion: huge craters, massive amounts of fallout, and total destruction to match. There's not a fault I could find. Let's move on to the aesthetic of the explosion. Similarly to Lucky TNT, the explosions are made up of particles. However, because the nukes are such a focus of this mod, a lot more effort has been put into them. I'm a huge fan of how much attention to detail has been put into the explosion. Starting off with a blinding light as soon as the nuke detonates, then being able to see the mushroom cloud sprout up while a shockwave is sent flying off from all directions, followed up with a large cloud of ash coming from the explosion that eventually settles on top of the crater that the nuke created. All of these elements combine together to create an excellent spectacle. And because the explosions are all made from particles, you can get as far away from it as you'd like and it won't despawn from from view like the explosions we saw in Rival Rebels. Unlike Rival Rebels that left me a bit disappointed by the crater size compared to the mushroom cloud size, HBM nukes make sure the explosion you see has a crater to match. When you see a giant mushroom cloud, you know that you're getting a giant explosion. The use of particles also means that the explosion matches Minecraft aesthetically. Don't get me wrong, I adore Rival Rebels' look, but it's not very Minecraft-esque because of the 3D models. So if you can't tell from all the glazing, I'm going to be giving this mod a 10 also on the aesthetics. It's literally everything I could want from a nuke mod in Minecraft. I can't think of anything that I could critique about. The only thing I could critique this mod on is that it hasn't been updated in ages. It's still on version 1.7.10, which is a big shame. I'd love to see this brought to more current versions of Minecraft. Adding our totals together, that gives HBM Nukes a score of 20, putting it in first and thusly giving it the coveted Best Nuke Mod in Daiazal's Nuke Mod video trophy. I can't recommend this mod enough. Even if you aren't looking to muck around with the nukes, the amount of content it adds to the game is staggering. I really only scratched the surface of things you can pull off. There's a straight up demon core for whatever reason. And by the way, I do love all of these mods. I think they're all worth looking at for different reasons, and you should definitely check each and every single one of them out when you get the chance. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. A huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon and my channel members here on YouTube. You guys are a big reason as to why I'm able to make these videos, and it means the world to me that so many of you have signed up. If you're interested, you can join either for $1 a month and you'll get a whole extra video with every upload. With that being said, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.